reminded that they all belong to God. And as we heard earlier today, He is the creator of all things. And we are just finite.
Amen.
So, like Melody, we get emotional about that.
Yes.
Because all the good things that we have, we owe to Him. Oscar Brown was telling me about his trip to Mississippi. Went down for the funeral. And the mishap that he had, he decided to take Greyhound. And the schedule got all off. He was taking Greyhound. He got down to Nashville. And the bus that he was supposed to transfer to was 3 hours late. And he missed it, the one that he was supposed to connect to. So he had to call some relatives from down in Mississippi to come get him. And I said, well, Oscar, I'm glad you had the flexibility. Just think if they couldn't have come to pick him up. So we give God the thanks and praise for all that He's done for us.
Yes.
Proverbs 31, verses 10 through 31. The virtuous woman of the Bible. You know, my son said that I shouldn't say this, but I have to give credit to the lectionary. He said, Dad, why do you always mention the lectionary? Nobody knows what the lectionary is. Because, you know, we go out on we're on YouTube now. I didn't want to be on YouTube. But some of the bosses in the congregation said, you need to be on YouTube because people don't, who can't make church, they want to hear what the sermon is.
Amen.
And he said, people on YouTube, when you hear you talking about the lectionary, they think that the lectionary put together the sermon for you. And the lectionary tells you what to say. I said, no, that's not. But they said they don't understand. But anyway, I said, you guys need to thank the lectionary for this sermon because it probably been 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road before I got to this subject. The lectionary gives you 5 topics, 5 texts. And they say, you pick one. It gives you 2 in the New Testament, 2 in the Old Testament, and 1 psalm. It's just a suggested understanding for a pastor. So the pastor says, okay, that one is hard. I'm not going to deal with that one. This one, the Old Testament, is not tough. I think I can handle that, so I'll speak on that. Next week, it gives another 5 suggestions. Sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 3 New Testament scriptures, 2 Old Testament, and a psalm. And so, you know, I've been speaking from all areas that the lectionary talks about. But this one, Proverbs 31, I said, no, that's a hard one. These ladies are going to be all over me. But I said, you know, sometimes you have to conquer your fears. You have to say, I'm going to grab that bull by the horns. So anyway, thanks to the lectionary, I'm talking about Proverbs 31. A virtuous wife, a virtuous woman. And so, but like I said, otherwise, it probably been the next 3 years before I got around to, I think I'll speak about that. But some Christians and many people in general have the mistaken idea that the woman of the Bible is soft, somewhat retiring type of a personality. They have a servitude mentality and is entirely domestic. Not so! This woman is This woman is an excellent wife and mother. She's a woman who is of strong character, wisdom, many skills, and great compassion. She has strength and dignity as a result of her reverence of God. Her physical attractiveness and beauty comes not from her shape or figure or her facial figures, but from her character. Amen? Amen. You've heard the saying that beauty is only skin deep, but underneath that it can be ugly and gory. Now the verses here in Proverbs 31 paint a portrait of an ideal woman, an ideal wife, or shall I say a perfect wife, a virtuous woman. You probably won't find all of these qualities in one woman. No wife is perfect, as no husband is perfect. Now, let's get the context in which these verses in Proverbs 31 are written. Context is extremely important. Would you agree?
Yes.
Context. But first, let's go to God in prayer. Father, we come before you. Thank you for this subject matter. You have selected it, and then I have made a selection from what was available, and decided to talk on this. We ask your inspiration and your direction. In Jesus' name, amen. As I was mentioning, the lectionary gives these texts, but they don't put the sermon together. I have to sweat over the sermon. From the first word to the last word, I put this thing together. And sometimes it's tough. Ask my wife. Context is extremely important. So let's take a look at the context of this particular scripture. Proverbs 31, verse 1. The sayings of King Lemuel, an inspired utterance of his mother, taught him. Now these are the words uttered that were taught by a Jewish mother whose son was a king, King Lemuel. This mother was giving her son advice about how a wise king should conduct his life. Okay, listen to what she says in verse 2. She says, "Listen, my son, listen, son of my womb. Listen, my son, the answer to my prayers." This mother had prayed to God for a son, and God answered her prayers. And now she's steering her son in the way of being a godly king. She's giving him words of wisdom. Verse 3, "Do not spend your strength on women, your vigor on those who ruin kings." The book of Proverbs talks a lot about women. There's the adulterous woman, the noisy woman, the loud and boisterous woman, the foolish woman. And this mother is admonishing her son that these are the kinds of women that will ruin a king. And then in verses 4 through 7, she talks about overindulgence in alcoholic beverages. It is not for King Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, not for rulers to crave beer, lest they drink and forget what they have been decreed, and deprive all the oppressed of their rights. Let beer be for those who are perishing, wine for those who are in anguish. Let them drink and forget their poverty, and remember their misery no more. Now she's talking about overindulgence in alcoholic beverages. This will cloud your judgment as a king. Again, overindulgence. She says, for those who are perishing, for those that they forget their poverty, those who oppress the rights of others. If a king takes a drink now and then, as most kings have the ability to, you know, there's good judgment there. And then verses 8 and 9. Verses 8 and 9. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. She says, be concerned about the people you rule over. The little man. Yes. Speak up and judge fairly for your subjects. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. Good advice, would you say? Yeah. This is a mother. I don't know how old King Elimiel was, but he was single, and she's trying to steer him now in the right way. And then in verses 10 through 31, look for a wife of noble character, she advises him. These verses point, that's verses 10 through 31, they point out 7 quality characteristics of this noble woman. It paints a portrait of the ideal wife. He didn't have her, but these are the admirable qualities that he was supposed to look for. Again, mama looking out for son. Is she strong or is she weak? Is she pretty little miss? Or does she have character? Is she a ragamuffin or is she confident? Well, verse 10 shows that if he finds a woman of noble character, she's worth more than precious gems. Verse 10, a wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Other translations say pearls, precious gems. This woman, son, if you find her, you have got a good thing. She's from God. I mentioned there were 7 quality characteristics that these verses bring out. Number 1, her character as a wife. It talks about her character as a wife. Okay, verses 11 and 12. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. So her husband has full confidence in this wife, this woman that he's looking for. Nothing is lost in trusting this woman. He has full confidence in her. She will not hinder him, but help him all the days of his life. Now that's a true commitment. That's a true commitment. That's working together. You know, God gave Adam someone to help him. Boy, you ain't all there. You ain't all there. Adam had work to do. He created all of the animals. He named all of the animals. He did the planting that was necessary. And God looked at him and said, the cows have mates, the monkeys have mates, the dogs have mates, the cats have mates. But Adam, you don't have anybody. You don't have a mate. So he made a help that was fitting for him. And you know, he made the right kind of person. She was influenced by the supreme deceiver, but she was perfect for Adam. And that's what this mother is looking out for her son. Speaking of character, look at verse 22. Verse 22. She makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. She makes covering for her bed of the finest tapestry.
Yes.
That's what another translation, that's the way it puts it. And her own clothing is beautifully made. So she's using her hands. She's making stuff. So there's fine linen and purple, silk and purple, a purple gown of purple linen. That's how that's rendered. Sister girl looks real good. She's not slouchy. She looks good to her man. She knows how. And she encourages her husband as a leader. Verse 23. Her husband is respected at the gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. Now the focus is on her. This is what she is doing to help him. She is behind him. She's nudging him, you know, be all that you can be. Her husband is well known, for he sits at the council chambers with the other civic leaders. There's this note here that I put for men. Men, really men, her husband is not a slouch. Her husband is a man of means. You know, you can't get something from nothing. All right? She takes care of the household responsibilities, which frees him up to help him with things relating to civic matters, things about the community, things that need someone to be really in charge of. When I was quite a bit younger, I was 18, 19, 20, 21, somewhere along there, single man, I was with other guys, you know, we were all part of the church. Guys would say, man, I'm looking for that P31 woman. Oh, you know, he could read all the qualities of what she's like. And, but you know, she was also looking for the P31 man. The man with kingly qualities. You know, and they twain ne'er shall meet. They're all looking for that perfect person. So, it also talks about her character again in verse 25. It says, she is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. Strength, honor, and dignity have always been the strength of her life. She's confident and not afraid of what the future holds. She has prepared her family for whatever the future brings. She is confident. She knows that she can look down the road and she has prepared her family. She can laugh at that and say, yeah, I've done what I'm supposed to do. Quality number 2, she's devoted as a homemaker. Verses 13 and 15, 13 through 15. She selects flax, wool and flax, and works with eager hands. She is like the merchant's ship, bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it is still night. She provides food for her family and portions for her female servants. She makes clothes for her family. Now, you ladies don't do that today. We don't live in an agrarian society. You don't make clothes. You can't do that. Well, today, it can be interpreted, she shops wisely for clothes for her family. She makes what specialties the family likes and needs and order them from afar if she needs to. She knows what they like. She knows what things are special, the specialties. And you can't go to the neighborhood store to get all the specialty things. You have to go to the catalog and you have to order them. And so that's what she does. She orders them from afar and brings them in. Whatever the family likes, whatever the family needs. She gets up at dawn and provides breakfast for her family. And she sets the schedule for the employees of the servants so they can get the necessary work accomplished for the day. Remember, we're talking about a king. This man is wealthy. She accomplishes a lot because she has female servants that are at her beck and call. And she makes the schedules for them so that she can get all of this stuff done. So she's a manager of what's theirs. She gets up early in the morning and she will fix breakfast for the family. You know, she doesn't say, okay, bowl of cereal in there. You know, get the cereal. You know, I think there's some French bread. We had some French bread left over. You know, she's very much concerned about these things. And verse 18, she sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp goes not out at night. The work of her hands are profitable. She watches for bargains. There ain't nothing wrong with looking for bargains for your family. And she can make, if she can make it, she makes it. She works far into the night. I saw a special note on that. The trimming of the lamp was a lady's responsibility. And the lamp would be lit. She would make sure that, it would go up until midnight and then it would have to be trimmed again. So she was up and she would trim the lamp with oil 12 midnight, and it would stay lit then all the way until the dawn. And then she would get back up, take care of her chores and trim the light again. So the light kept burning. That was necessary in that particular society. So, you know, if it was night that she needed to be up, she was doing that. You can see the intense drive of this woman. Verse 27. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. She has tremendous drive and accomplishment. Everything she does is for the benefit of her household. Now, do you see anything in there about divorce? Everything in here is about commitment. Commitment. Looking out for the welfare of the family. There's time when there has to be a divorce. You know, there's that time. But he's looking for the ideal wife, the ideal woman. Number two, she's a devoted homemaker. Number 3, an effective mother. Verse 21. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. That was a little tough to understand. Like, the clothing red? No. Scarlet here means that the clothes were reinforced. Melanie back there saying warm. You're absolutely right. It's like they were double made. That's what that scarlet means. She's not afraid of the winter because she looks out for the affairs of her family. Her husband, the children, everybody is taken care of. Number 4, influence as a teacher. Let's read verse 22. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instructions are on her tongue. I like the way the Living Bible presents this. It says, when she speaks, her words are wise, and kindness is the rule of everything she says. That's saying a lot. There's some. 26. Verse 26. Thank you, dear. When she speaks, her words are wise, and kindness is the rule of everything she says. Not boisterous, not loud, not that the whole neighborhood hears it. She's not loud or boisterous. She approaches her husband, her children, and her servants this way. A major part of her teaching is child rearing. A wise mother will teach her children from an early age what they should learn. Household duties and chores are a part of that. This woman is industrious and teaches her children these traits so that they are not lazy, freeloaders, and looking for entitlements. They learn the lessons of freedom and independence from her teachings. It's a wise lady. Number 5, generosity. Verses 19 and 20. In her hands she holds this staff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. And this staff and the spindle are needle-like things that they work together with yarn and make threads. Verse 20, she opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. So this woman not only sews and makes clothes for her family, she sews for the poor and gives to the needy. It's not that they come begging to her, but she reaches out to them. That's her attitude, to reach out. And again, I keep saying sewing because that was the order of the day back then. But there are many other ways that the ladies can take care of their kids today by providing. How many kids are needy today? I'm amazed just in Indianapolis how many kids don't have clothing today. Their parents have forsaken them and left them to others. Number 6, she is industrious. Verses 16 and 17. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. She goes out to inspect the field and buys it out of her own earnings. With her own hands, she plants a vineyard. She is energetic, a hard worker. She sees that over maybe 3 miles down the road, there's a field. She says, I think I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy that and plant a vineyard. My family can benefit from the grapes. We can benefit from selling the wine. It's a good deal. She don't have to go to her husband. Out of her own industriousness, she's got the money set aside. So she goes and buys it. So she has helpers, but she's the boss. She's the boss lady. Just how industrious she is. She's an entrepreneur. She's creative. She's resourceful. There's strength about her. It talks about her being strong, her arms being strong. That doesn't mean that she's physically strong. Almost any wife's husband can outlift her in weights and stuff like that. But there's a strength about her. There's fortitude. There's a stamina. There's a mental toughness. And you know, when it comes to kids and babies, you have to have a mental toughness that most men can't deal with. Oh, no. My wife used to say, I would get up in the morning and say, man, it was a great night last night. We slept all night. And she said she was ready to throw a shoe at me. She said the babies were up 2 or 3 times during the night. She was up with them. I slept right through it. Hey, you know, dealing with life and dealing with families and kids and babies is a tough thing. And God knew what he was doing when he gave that job to women. I mean, women don't despise it. They love it.
Thank you.
It's the way they're created.
Amen. Thank you. That's true.
Even down to carrying this baby for 9 months. Wow. Now, for some of us, that was earlier in life. We get older, and we can't do all those things. Some people don't expect to be doing all that stuff now if you're 60, 70, or 80. But there were times when you experienced those things, and you could do those things, and you were managing the household. Verse 24, we're talking about industrious. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies the merchants with sashes. You know, back in those days, the men wore the long, blousey type outfits. You know, they put in them and they would cover the whole body. You know, almost like one piece. But they had sashes that went around the waist.
They still use them now.
Sashes. And that's what she sold. Hey, this is a profitable adventure. I'm going to sell all these new sashes. And they needed a red one and a gold one and a pink one. You know, hey, that's big business. So she sold them to the merchants who took them way over someplace else and sold them. That's being industrious.
Yes.
Last point. Number 7. Excellence as a saint. Excellence as a saint. Verses 28 through 31. Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also. And he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her work bring her praise at the gate, at the city gate. A beautiful woman praised by all, especially those of her family. Especially those of her family. One who fears and reverences God, she is respected and honored by all, even the men at the gate of the city. They know what's behind the man that sits on the council. It's his wife. Yes, a virtuous woman who can find. Her price is far above precious gems. A gift from God. Many of you ladies out there fall into this category. Many of you fall into this category. You're this close to being there in many cases. Isn't it worth striving to be more and more like this virtuous woman? Your man will appreciate you. Her character as a wife devoted as a homemaker, an effective mother, influence as a teacher, generous as a neighbor, industrious, and excellence as a saint. Father, thank you. We are all growing. We are all learning. And Father, we have some ladies in our congregation who do wonderful jobs. And thank you for them. Part of the battle is turning to you and trusting in you and striving to live the life that you want them to live. And they are doing their level best. Thank you so very much. Help us as husbands. Help us as men to show appreciation to the ladies for what they do. We all came into this world through a woman. And Father, they stand behind us from the time that we are young men until we marry and have wives that stand by our sides. Thank you. And thank you so very much for them. And we just ask that we can work together as teams to further your glory. All in Jesus'